Good morning, Jaime Harrison. Thank you so much for being here with Telly and I. You are live on Truth Be Told with DT and Telly. Good morning.
Thank you, DT, and good morning, Telly, as well. Thank you all so much for having me on.
We are so very excited to have you. Now, let's just get straight to this. Jaime, and may I call you Jaime?
Of course.
Let's be respectful. Okay. So the Democratic National Committee, in terms of your mission, the mission statement is we are committed to electing Democrats everywhere, from the school board to the Oval Office. We're mobilizing voters across the country. And when we talk specifically about the African American voters, there are a number of issues specific regarding affordable quality health care, affordable housing, reforming our criminal justice system. As Black people, we have traditionally voted Democrat holistically. And based on surveys today, it's showing that generally speaking, Black people do not know who we want to vote for. And quite frankly, we're concerned about what's going to happen if we reelect President Joe Biden. So can you just share some of the things that you're hearing and other things that you and your team members are leading as it relates to these areas of focus within the Black community?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's important to set the table and provide folks with the information on what this president has done. I was just with him recently. He was here in South Carolina where he gave a speech, and the theme was promises made, promises kept. This president has worked hard to deliver for the American people, but specifically to Black folks. And one of the very first things he did, the first thing he did when he got a nomination was he picked a Black woman to be the vice president of the United States. And then, a promise he made here in South Carolina was that if he became president, he would appoint the first Black woman to the Supreme Court. And he did that in Ketanji Brown Jackson. But not only did he stop there, he continued to appoint Black folks on the judiciary in this country. In the 248-year-old history of the United States, only 98 Black women have ever sat on the federal bench. Only 98 out of 248 years. Well, in just Joe Biden's 3 years, he's appointed 35 Black women to sit on the federal bench. 3 years, 35 Black women. Overall, he's appointed 170 judges. 60 of them are Black, and between the ages of 40 and 50. So these people have got lifetime appointments from our community that will be sitting there bringing their experience and their perspective to impact how our judiciary system works, because we've been disproportionately left out. This is a president who cut childhood poverty in the Black community by half. This is a president that changed the presidential primary calendar, which no other president ever did, from just having Iowa and New Hampshire start this off, and, good people in Iowa and New Hampshire, but not very many Black folks. But now this calendar starts in South Carolina, where 40% of enslaved people came to this country, where 90% of Black folks in this country can trace one ancestor back to South Carolina. So instead of talking about ethanol and all of these other things, we're going to talk about Black infant mortality rate. We're going to talk about HBCUs. We're going to talk about, Black veterans and Black farmers and all of the issues that impact us. So hands that used to pick cotton are now picking presidents, and we're the first in line instead of being at the back of the line. And this is just a sample. Student loan debt relief. No president ever touched that issue until Joe Biden did. $137 billion of student loan relief for almost 4 million people. Many of them are Black. And every 2 months, there's another 75,000 new people who will get student loan relief because their loans have been, they're even in public service, or they've been paying their loans for more than 20 years. And so criminal justice reform, even when Tim Scott and the Republicans stopped the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, Joe Biden went and used his executive authority, pardoned those charged with federal crimes for marijuana, made sure that we blocked, banned chokeholds on the federal level, banned no-knock warrants on the federal level. And so, folks, we've made progress, and we've only made that progress because you all, 81 million of us in 2020, went to the polls and voted for somebody who actually gave a damn about us and our family and our community. The contrast is Donald Trump. We know Trump don't care about us, and his only focus is retribution and payback to the people that he feels have aggrieved him. That's not what you need in a president. You need somebody who can deliver, and Joe Biden has demonstrated that he's been able to deliver, but there's still so much left to be done.
We are talking with Jaime Harrison, who is the chair of the Democratic National Committee. And we're so happy to have you, Jaime. Thank you for sharing that, because to your point, those are some very significant accomplishments and focus that has never been done previously by a president. Let me ask you this, because you were born and raised in South Carolina. You were raised by a single mother. You attended Baptist church as a child. And I'm looking at your trajectory. You are very, very accomplished. You received a scholarship to Yale University where you majored in political science. Now, with all of this and your experience as a black man growing up in South Carolina, why is it that black people right now are not secure with voting for President Joe Biden? Because again, a lot of the polls are showing that black voters are split, are flat out saying, we're not going to vote, or we don't know who to vote for. What are some of the things that you're hearing that, based, in spite of everything that you just shared, black people as a whole are still not comfortable in terms of how they're going to show up for this presidential election?
Partly I think is generational. We saw here in South Carolina in the primary, 96%, Joe Biden got 96% of the vote, and that vote primarily was black. But there's a generational divide in terms of where we're getting our information in our media. When I talk to older voters, they were like, of course I'm voting for Joe Biden. But it's the younger voters who are getting their information from TikTok and Twitter and all. And what we know on those mediums is there's a lot of disinformation going around. There's a lot of falseness and false truths that are going around. And if people are getting their information primarily from those things, then many of them are believing it. And so it's really incumbent upon us, and we are building out the systems at the DNC, and I know the president's campaign, is to make sure that we are on those mediums, because we got to go to where people are, and to make sure that we're fighting back and pushing back against that disinformation that's out there. I mean, how many folks know that we've had the lowest unemployment for black America under Joe Biden? That he has increased black wealth by 60% since the pandemic. Again, I talked about cutting childhood poverty in half in 2021 when we, with the monthly checks of up to $300 per child with expanded child tax credit. Black Americans are starting small businesses at record numbers. This is the fastest rate in the last 30 years. And so there's so much that has been done, but again, it's important that people hear it, that they see it, but most importantly, that they feel it. One of the things I want your listeners to know, if you got student loans and you have not gone to studentaid.gov to sign up to see if you can either adjust your student loan payment, which you can with Joe Biden's new SAVE program, or get student loan forgiveness, which you can on that site, then you need to make sure you do that today. Studentaid.gov. There are resources right now. If you're trying to start a small business, go to SBA.gov, because there's set-aside loans and grants specifically targeted to disproportionate minority communities, right? So there's resources there, and it's important for you to connect with them so that you know that they're out there. Even getting internet. There's reduced pricing for internet for those of us who are trying to get internet but can't afford it, right? So there's so many programs that this president and Democrats have done, but we got to make sure that that information gets out to people, and so that they can take advantage of these resources and to bring down the cost and to put more money in their pockets.
We're being joined live on Truth Be Told with DT Telly with Jaime Harrison, the chair for the Democratic Party, National DNC. And Jaime, first off, thanks for joining us once again. We appreciate your time, and we know these are busy times. And kind of piggyback off of what Denise had asked you before, every presidential cycle, we hear about how Democrats are pleading for the black vote. And whenever we hear these statistics that you're giving us, we don't feel the examples in our neighborhoods and in our day-to-day lives. So just tell us how the Democratic Party can reinvigorate voters that they already have targeted and feel like they can get re-engaged, because I know there's a lot of people, especially that I know that are black, that basically are tired of voting Democrat because they don't think that anything has changed over the years. And every presidential cycle we hear, this is the most important presidential election ever. And granted, a lot of times in those situations, they are. But why is this one the most important one? Because not only is 2024, but the future of the Black community.
Well, I think it's really, really important. And I think for folks need to take a look at some of the things that are going on in their community and understand where that's coming from, right? It's not just magic wand that's making it happen. I am sure right now in Milwaukee, there are infrastructure projects that are happening all across the city of Milwaukee. The Black Neck Bridge, right? We know that wasn't really moving, right? But it's moving now because we're sending money in order to do it. Ripping out lead pipes in our communities. We've been drinking out of these lead pipes for decades. And now this president passed legislation to rip those pipes out in order to put new pipes in that aren't infesting lead into the water that we're drinking, that we're feeding our kids. When we think about internet, when we think about new jobs, we're providing over 300,000 families in your area with affordable, high-speed internet. 42,000 new jobs in Milwaukee alone because of the resources that Joe Biden has passed along. Healthcare in this country. More Black families have health coverage under the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, because this president has added additional. Many of us know somebody who is either diabetic, either we know someone's diabetic, we are pre-diabetic or diabetic ourselves. Well, this president passed legislation to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month. People are paying hundreds of dollars a month for that. Next year, starting January 2025, our seniors won't pay more than $2,000 a year for their health care costs, including their prescription drugs. Folks, that only happened because you went and voted in 2020, right? And you voted for some people who actually got that stuff done. And so that's the key component of understanding that, things don't happen always fast, but things are happening. Things are getting better in some areas, and things will continue to get better as long as we actually vote for people who care about us and our family and our community. That's why it's key, and that's why it's so important.
Yeah, and Jamie, I just want to follow up one last quick one for you because I know you have to go real soon, and I just want to address the elephant in the room. A lot of people look at Joe Biden's age, President Joe Biden's age, and we wonder, does he have the energy, the strength to continue to move forward? Because it's one thing to be 80 plus years old and have a regular job, but to be 80 plus years old and to be the president of the United States, it's extremely stressful, and it's a lot on anyone. So in terms of his ability to continue to lead, how confident are you with him at this age?
I'm extremely comfortable with him. Listen, Joe Biden's in better shape than most of us. This is a man who bikes all the time. This is a man. I was just with him in Pennsylvania, and he basically was on a photo line, did a photo line with probably 100 people, and then did selfies with almost everybody that was in there. I mean, this is a guy whose stamina is strong, and his mind is intact. He is sharp as a tack. And so I feel really good and really comfortable knowing that Joe Biden's there. And it's funny to hear this, particularly from Republicans. Oh, Joe Biden this and Joe Biden that. Well, heck, what does it say about them? Because while they're playing checkers, he's playing chess. He is outmaneuvering them every single thing. Yeah, mind you, think about this. Joe Biden had a 50-50 Senate, United States Senate, and a 5-seat majority in the House, and got all of this stuff done that I talked about. The Affordable Care Act, the PACT Act, the CHIPS and Science Act, the student loan stuff, the first gun safety legislation in 30 years. He got all of that done. This is the same majority that Republicans currently have in the House. It took them 15 tries to get one speaker, 9 months to lose it, and then the new speaker that they got, they're probably going to lose him shortly. I mean, these folks are chaotic. They're clowns. They're not getting anything done for the American people. And so we've got a president who has probably done more legislatively than any other president probably since Lyndon Baines Johnson and the Great Society. Just bill after bill after bill in terms of getting things done to help improve the lives of the American people. And so he's been able to do that, and his age has been his asset. It's been his wisdom because he understands how Washington works, but he also understands how to navigate Washington, which is key to really getting things done in that city. And so I have nothing but confidence that Joe Biden's going to be great. We see Donald Trump, who's 78, which is just a few years younger. If you look at the Donald Trump's health, give me Joe Biden any day over Donald Trump.
We've been talking with Democratic National Committee Chair Jaime Harrison. Jaime, Telly and I cannot thank you enough for making the time to be here and share with us and answer our questions. We hope, Jaime, are you going to come back?
Yes, I am going to come back. Just let me know how often you want me. I'm actually going to be in Milwaukee a lot over the course because Wisconsin is so important. We'll be in Wisconsin a lot, so hopefully I can even come in studio with you all sometime. When I'm
we
up
would
there.
love that.
Yes, let me know how often you want me. I'll come every month. On every month if you want. Just let my staff know, and we'll make it happen.
You heard it here live, y'all. Jaime Harrison is going to be a featured regular guest here on Truth Be Told with DT and Telly. Again, Jaime Harrison, chair of the Democrat. I'm not laughing, Telly. Jaime, you're not laughing either, are you? You coming back,
I'm
brother,
not
right?
laughing.
Okay, I just want to thank you.
No, it's on wax, as we used to say back in the day. It's on wax.
It's on wax.
You know
thank
how
you so
we
much.
are in the South.
Exactly. Y'all say-do ratio is 1-to-1. I love it. All right, Jaime. Thank you so much. We appreciate you again.
You.
And I'm sure Truth Nation will continue to have more questions and just want to continue to engage with the Democratic National Committee. So we look forward to when you return to Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin. Have a great weekend. And again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. You all take care. God bless.